Dear friends, today I want to talk about something that concerns many of us: the desire to receive a message from departed loved ones. Anyone who has experienced the loss of a loved one knows that aching feeling, the desperate wish to hear, feel, or receive even the smallest sign from those who are no longer with us. This is a completely natural desire, and there is nothing strange or shameful about it. We often hear stories of how people receive such signs: special dreams, unusual coincidences, the appearance of certain birds or animals, or the unexpected discovery of old photographs or belongings. Some approach this with skepticism, others believe it wholeheartedly, but almost everyone deep down hopes for such a connection. The loss of a loved one leaves a void in our soul that seems impossible to fill. We continue to talk to them in our minds, share our joys and sorrows, and seek their advice. At times, we long so deeply for a response, a sign that they hear us, that the connection has not been severed forever. In moments of intense longing, we may search for signs everywhere: in a sudden gust of wind, in a melody that unexpectedly plays on the radio, or in the unusual behavior of pets. Sometimes this brings comfort, while other times it causes even greater pain and disappointment if the long-awaited sign never appears. Many people hesitate to talk about this openly, fearing misunderstanding or judgment. Some feel that asking for a sign is a sign of weakness or a lack of faith. Others worry that they might be considered strange or even mentally unstable. But the truth is, this is a deeply human need: the desire to maintain a connection with those we love, even after their departure. Today, we will discuss how to ask for such a sign, how to remain open to receiving it, and how to distinguish a genuine sign from a mere coincidence. This is a very personal and delicate topic, and everyone finds their own meaning in it. We will not provide categorical advice or ready-made solutions, only share experiences and knowledge that have helped many people in similar situations. Let us begin by understanding why it is so important for us to receive a sign from departed loved ones. This desire is rooted in the very depths of human nature and culture. Since ancient times, people have believed in the possibility of communicating with the world of the departed, creating rituals and traditions to help maintain this connection. Modern psychology explains this urge as a natural reaction to loss. We need to know that our loved ones exist somewhere, that they are okay, and that they still care about us. This helps us cope with the pain of loss and find new ways to preserve the relationship, even in a transformed form. Different cultures have their own interpretations of how this connection occurs. Some believe that the souls of the deceased become our protectors and can warn us of danger or help us in difficult situations. Others believe that loved ones may appear in the form of specific animals or birds. Still, others believe in the possibility of communication through dreams or special states of consciousness. Interestingly, even people who are not typically inclined to believe in the supernatural often recount unusual coincidences or events following the loss of a loved one. For instance, hearing the departed's favorite song at a significant moment in life, or unexpectedly finding an object they had been thinking about. It is important to understand that seeking signs is not necessarily a question of belief in the afterlife or mysticism. Often, it is a way for our consciousness to process the loss, find comfort, and make sense of what has happened. When we notice such signs, it helps us feel a continuing connection with those we love and gives us strength to move forward. Many psychologists and grief counselors note that believing in the possibility of receiving a sign from departed loved ones can be very healing. It helps to cope with the finality of loss, bringing hope and comfort. The key is that this belief should not become an obsessive idea or prevent us from living a full life in the present. If you decide to ask for a sign from a departed loved one, it is important to prepare yourself properly for this moment. In the hustle and bustle of everyday life, amidst constant noise and rush, even the most obvious signals can be overlooked. Therefore, it is worth creating suitable conditions not only around you but also within yourself. Start by choosing a quiet time and place where you will not be disturbed. This could be early morning or late evening when the world around you quiets down. Perhaps you feel more comfortable in your own room, or you may prefer to go out to a park or garden. The most important thing is that you feel safe and can fully relax in this place. Places tied to significant memories of your loved one can be especially meaningful? This could be a favorite bench in the park where you often walk together, a cafe where you had heartfelt conversations, or simply a cozy corner in your home where memorable items are kept. Such places are already imbued with the special energy of your relationship. Try to free your mind from trivial thoughts and worries. This does not mean forcing yourself to think about nothing. Just let all extraneous thoughts drift by without clinging to them. You can light a candle, play soft music, or simply sit in silence. Do whatever helps you feel calm and serene. It is very important to let go of specific expectations about what the sign should look like. Sometimes we expect a particular manifestation so strongly that we might miss what is actually being sent to us. Be open to any forms of connection. It could be something very simple and seemingly ordinary, but filled with special meaning just for you. Some people find it helpful to perform a small ritual before reaching out. For instance, taking out a photograph of the loved one, a cherished item, or a talisman associated with them. This helps to tune into the right wavelength and feel a closer connection. However, if you feel more comfortable without any additional actions, that is perfectly fine too. When you feel ready to reach out to your departed loved one, trust your heart to choose the way. The simplest and most natural method is a mental conversation. Speak as you normally would when they were alive. You can start with a simple hello, or immediately share what is on your mind. There's no need to search for special words or try to speak correctly. Sincerity is what matters most. Writing can also be helpful for many. Take a sheet of paper and write a letter as if your loved one could read it. Talk about your feelings, how much you miss them, and the important events in your life. You can ask questions that trouble you or request support in a difficult situation. Such letters often bring relief and help you better understand your emotions. Some people find comfort in meditation. Do not think that this requires special preparation or particular skills. Simply sit comfortably, close your eyes, and imagine your loved one nearby. Feel their presence. Remember their voice, laughter, and familiar gestures. In this state, you can mentally share everything that is on your mind. Every family has its own unique traditions and rituals. Some light candles on memorable dates, some prepare the favorite dishes of the departed, and others listen to their favorite music. These simple actions can be a wonderful way to establish a connection and ask for a sign. The most important thing is that you feel comfortable and natural doing it. Do not forget that communication can also be entirely simple and everyday. Many people talk to their loved ones while doing ordinary tasks, cooking, walking, or driving. You can simply say, "I would really like to hear your advice right now." Or, "I was thinking about you today." Sometimes the deepest contact occurs precisely at such moments. And remember, there are no right or wrong ways to reach out. Trust your intuition and choose what feels closest to you. The main thing is the sincerity of your intent and the depth of the feelings you put into the communication. After reaching out to your loved one, be attentive to what happens around you. Signs can appear in a variety of forms, and they are often very personal. What seems like an obvious message to one person might appear as a mere coincidence to another. Signs often come through natural phenomena. It could be unusual behavior from birds or animals, especially if they are somehow connected to your loved one. For example, if your mother loved robins, the appearance of this bird in an unusual place or at an important moment could be a sign from her. A rainbow appearing on a significant day, a special sunset, or an unexpected warm breeze on a cold day. Nature speaks to us in its own language. Music often becomes a conduit for messages from loved ones. You might unexpectedly hear their favorite song at just the right moment, even in places where it is not typically played. Or you may constantly encounter a particular melody that holds special meaning for both of you. Many people recount how, in difficult moments, the very song that always lifted their spirits began to play suddenly. Dreams deserve special attention. They often become a space for very clear communication with departed loved ones. These dreams are usually different from ordinary ones. They are more vivid, emotional, and leave a deep impression after waking. They may involve a direct conversation or convey an important message through symbols and images. Sometimes, electrical devices also become conduits for signs. A television turning on unexpectedly, flickering lights, or calls from unknown numbers. Many people report such incidents, especially soon after a loss or during significant moments in life. Finding old photographs, letters, or items can be very personal and meaningful, especially if they appear when you particularly need support or answers to a question. Or you might unexpectedly come across something that reminds you of your loved one, their favorite flowers, a specific scent, or a characteristic gesture from a passerby. Occasionally, signs come through other people who suddenly begin speaking words your loved one might have said or offering advice they would have given. It might even be a stranger who unexpectedly says something very important and precise for your situation. However, when talking about signs, it is essential to maintain a reasonable balance between faith and critical thinking. Sometimes, in our passionate desire to receive a message from a loved one, we might begin to see signs in everything. This can lead to disappointment or even hinder the normal process of grieving. So, how can you distinguish a true sign from a simple coincidence? First and foremost, pay attention to your feelings at the moment of receiving the supposed sign. A true sign usually evokes a profound emotional response, a sense of recognition, an inner understanding that this is exactly what they wanted to convey. There's a feeling of special connection, warmth, and the presence of your loved one. It is also important to consider the timing, the moment when the sign appears. They often come at particularly significant or challenging moments in our lives when we most need support or advice, or on meaningful dates, birthdays, anniversaries, or holidays that were important to both of you. True signs usually carry some meaning that is uniquely understandable to you. It could be something only the two of you knew, a personal joke, or a special memory. Such signs often answer a question that has been troubling you or bring comfort just when it is most needed. If you doubt the authenticity of a sign, do not rush to either dismiss or accept it unconditionally. You can simply note the event for yourself and observe whether similar signs appear in the future. Sometimes, the true meaning of a received message only becomes clear with time. It also happens that we wait a long time for a specific sign, but it does not appear. At such moments, it is important to remember that the absence of the expected sign does not mean the absence of a connection with your loved one. Perhaps the sign will come in a different form or at a different time. Or maybe the very expectation of a specific sign prevents us from noticing the messages that are truly being sent to us. Many people say that the most convincing signs come precisely when they are least expected. Therefore, it is important to remain open and attentive, but not to turn the search for signs into an obsession. Receiving a sign from a loved one is a special experience that requires careful handling and reflection. Many people find it helpful to keep a journal of such messages, recording what happened, what feelings it evoked, and what thoughts came to mind at that moment. Over time, a whole story of your communication may unfold, helping you to better understand and accept what is happening. In the journal, you can record not only clear signs, but also your dreams, unusual coincidences, sudden insights, or simply moments when you felt your loved one's presence especially strongly. Such entries help preserve important details that might otherwise be forgotten over time. And later, when rereading them, you may notice certain patterns or connections. It is very important to share your experience with those who can understand and support you. These could be family members who also miss the departed loved one, or friends who have gone through similar experiences. By talking about the signs we have received, we not only gain support, but also help others believe in the possibility of such a connection. Sometimes it is helpful to create a special place or method for storing meaningful items related to the signs received. This could be a special box, an album, or simply a shelf where feathers, leaves, photographs, or other items that have become messages from a loved one are collected. Such a place becomes a kind of bridge between worlds, helping you feel a constant connection. Some people create small gratitude rituals for the signs they receive. For example, lighting a candle, doing something kind for others, or simply saying thank you mentally. This helps strengthen the bond and shows that we value the opportunity for communication. It is important to remember that receiving signs is not a substitute for the grieving process, but a part of it. They can bring comfort and support, but should not become a way to avoid working through the pain of loss. Each sign is like a warm embrace, reminding us that love does not die with physical death, but continues to live in a new form. Of course, you need to be prepared for the fact that signs may not always come when we want them to. Sometimes there are periods of silence, and that is normal too. At such moments, it is important to trust that the connection still exists. It may simply manifest differently at various times in our lives. In conclusion, I want to say to everyone who is seeking a connection with a departed loved one, you are not alone on this path. The desire to receive a message, a sign, or a communication is an expression of the love that does not die with the passing of the physical body. That love continues to live in our hearts, our memories, and perhaps in those amazing moments we call signs. Be patient with yourself in this process. There are no rules or timelines for when and how signs should appear. Everyone has their own path, their own way of maintaining this special connection. The most important thing is to keep your heart open and trust your feelings. Remember that the absence of obvious signs does not mean that your loved one is not with you. Sometimes the most important messages come through simple things: warm memories, a sudden feeling of peace, or an unexpected surge of strength in a difficult moment. Love finds many ways to express itself. Even when we cannot physically embrace one another, continue to live a full life. That is the best way to honor the memory of loved ones who have passed. They would want to see us happy, growing, and moving forward. You can maintain a connection with them in your heart while remaining open to new experiences, new relationships, and new joys. Share your story with those who are willing to listen. Your experience may become a source of support for others who are going through the loss of a loved one. In such communication, a special sense of unity and understanding often arises, helping to cope with the pain of loss. And most importantly, trust your heart. It knows the right way to maintain this special connection. Pay attention to the signs, but do not turn the search for them into an obsession. Live with an open heart, cherish the bright memory of your loved ones, and believe that love is stronger than death. May each of you find your way to maintain this invisible but vital connection with those who are no longer physically with us, but remain forever in our hearts. And remember, you are never alone on this journey. Friends, thank you for being with me today and for discussing such a personal and important topic for many. I hope this conversation has brought you comfort and support and has helped you better understand your feelings and the possibility of connection with your departed loved ones. If what we have discussed resonates with you, subscribe to the channel. Here we discuss topics that often go beyond ordinary conversations, but are so important to each of us. Share your experiences in the comments. Your story may provide support to others. Until next time, take care of yourselves and your loved ones.